Hi, I'm Chris Shelton, coming to you from a cold and brisk day from Los Angeles, California, with your DIY home remedies guide to health, happiness, and healing transformation. Carrying along with what we've been talking about over the last month or so is neck and shoulder, lower back issues. In my next upcoming book, The DIY for Lower Back Pain, Mid Back, and Upper Back Pain, and how to fix it yourself. In Chinese medicine, when we look at the low back is actually governed by our kidneys. Our kidneys control the low back, and the kidneys do not like the climatic condition of cold. So if you have low back pain, depending on the practitioner that you go to, they may tell you to go ahead and ice your low back. Well, what I say is, coming from somebody who has had back problems in the past, which got me started with Chinese medicine over 26 years ago, the lower back pain was exacerbated for me when I actually applied ice to it. So I recommend alternating between ice and heat and see which one feels best for you. If there's an initial injury, then yes, I'd say go ahead and ice it. But if it's something that's long going, I would do the back and forth of ice and heat to see which one feels better. And also to just listen to your body. If you notice that you applying heat to the low back is creating more pain for you, then stop. If you notice that ice is creating more pain in the low back, then stop. Another remedy that you could do as well is go ahead and put ice on the lower lumbar and then put heat on your mid back, on your thoracic spine, in between the shoulder blades opposite the heart, and then alternate. So 15 minutes that way, and then 15 minutes heat on the lower lumbar, and then 15 minutes of ice in the mid back region. So the negative emotions that actually will affect the low back or the lower lumbar is the emotions of fear, fright, and shock. These are the emotions that attack the kidneys. And in my new book that's just about back problems, I talk about, from my own example, years ago when I was competing in martial arts competitions, every once in a while when I was coming up to a match, 1 to 2 days beforehand, all of a sudden, guess what? My back was killing me. And then I'd have the fight, I'd have the match, and then guess what? The back pain was gone, which really solidified the philosophy of Chinese medicine that fear could actually paralyze you and get stuck in that low back region. So the other thing as well that will affect the back is your liver. Your liver and your gallbladder, actually, when there's too much stress, too much resentment or old anger, this actually will create a problem with the lower lumbar too, because the liver influences the sympathetic nervous system, and that liver and that gallbladder also plays an influence on your psoas muscle. What is the psoas muscle? The psoas muscle is the culprit for any kind of back, hip, drop leg syndrome, bulging disc, lumbar stenosis, whatever the low back issue that you have, SI joint problems, that darn psoas is the culprit. Well, this muscle is a deep, deep, deep muscle, and it's very hard to get to. Now in yoga and Pilates, they have some stretches that kind of get to the superficial aspect of the psoas, but really to get to the psoas itself, you really have to do a certain stretch called the psoas stretch, and also get in here on the gallbladder meridian. Where is the psoas located? The psoas is a muscle about the size of your fist. It attaches on the inner aspect of the groin here, wraps up around, I'm going to turn around, comes up here to the lower lumbar, to the SI, all the way up to your thoracic spine. So all of this actually comes down into the front here, and that's the reason why when people have bulging or ruptured discs, herniated discs, they actually will walk like this. Why? Yes, their back hurts, but they're walking like this because this darn muscle in the front is too tight. Of all the diseases that I see here in Los Angeles, whether in Chicago or in San Jose, of all the diseases I see, I would say lumbar stenosis, herniated discs, bulging discs are probably the #1 diseases that I see. You know, we see other inflammatory diseases like lupus and Lyme, etc., fibromyalgia, but I'm not kidding you, this back issue is really a serious problem because it does not discriminate anymore. Whether you're young or old, whether you're a couch potato, whether you're active, it is affecting everybody. And the reason why is because this darn sympathetic nervous system, which when God developed our bodies, the universe developed our bodies, was meant for fight or flight situations. For example, if you're being chased by a bear, to get out of Dodge. If your house is on fire, to run out of the house. If there's an emergency happening, this is what the sympathetic nervous system was set up for and designed for. The problem nowadays is that this darn sympathetic nervous system does not know the difference between being chased by a bear, your house being on fire, or running late for an appointment, being stuck in traffic, getting in a fight with your kids, your spouse, your family members, having to pay a bill, being behind on bills, having money deficit issues. It does not know the difference. So guess what? It's triggered all the time. And as a result of that, this is where it ends up. Also, this area too is the area where we store our PTSD. So any kind of traumatic stress, post-traumatic stress that you may have had, whether it's abuse, surviving a severe illness, accident, maybe you're somebody that just came back from the Middle East or somewhere where there was war, or maybe there's war inside your house, or maybe there's war inside your community. This here, or that kind of stuff actually will get stuck in this darn psoas, and this is where it gets stuck. And if you think about it, this psoas is such a big and deep muscle that if somebody was beating or attacking you, this is the muscle that actually allows you to curl up into a ball right away and protect yourself. Because we want to protect our delicate yin organs in the front, and then the strong yang side on the back actually helps to ward off and can actually outlast an attack, or if we had to duck and cover, whether earthquake or whatever. So one of the things that we could go ahead and do in order to benefit our psoas and help to alleviate the stress from the sympathetic nervous system is to work on our liver and our gallbladder. And we could go ahead and do the liver move. The liver move is very simple. It's like you're holding a ball. Click on the link below and subscribe to this YouTube channel. But click on the link below and you'll see the 30 Days of Qigong and look up the liver move itself, or the liver healing sound, which is the healing sound of shoo, like shouting. And all you're going to do is you're going to focus on the right side of the body where the liver is located. As you inhale, you're going to imagine a green cloud filling up into the liver. Then as you exhale, allowing for any kind of stress, frustration, resentment to leave like a dark cloud going several feet away from the body and deep into the ground. And you could do this for a few seconds, or you could do this for 10 or 15 minutes, or for as long as you would like, whatever feels best for you. Now notice also, I'm using my legs as a pump to pump the blood up to the chest, up to the liver. And then I'm going to allow for the positive virtue of calmness, centeredness, acceptance to come in. And I'm going to finish by pulling down the heavens 1 to 3 times, whatever feels good to you. And inhale. And exhale. Now the next thing we can do is we can go ahead and do our kidney move. And a kidney move looks like this. Once again, just click on the link below and we go to the Qigong tip of the week for the kidney movement. And I'm going to focus on a blue cloud filling up into the left and the right kidney. As I exhale, I'm going to bend at the waist. And I'm going to allow any situation that creates fear, or any situation where I had to endure some kind of shock that creates any kind of PTSD, whether it's a physical or mental abuse, surviving some kind of trauma, visualizing or seeing something that's very traumatic, or let's say you just got over a severe illness, cancer, that also weakens the kidneys and will also allow for the fear to creep in. Burning the candles at both ends, drinking too much, these kinds of things will weaken the kidneys. And then as I exhale, I'm just going to allow for the fear and the shock to leave out through the bottom of the feet like a dark cloud, going several feet away from the body and deep into the ground. Now once again, I could do several repetitions, or I could do 10 or 15 minutes, whatever feels good for you. But for the sake of this video, to keep it condensed and to the point, because my wife always says that my man sure likes to talk a lot, what I'm going to do is several rotations. Inhaling, allow for that blue cloud to come in. Exhaling, allow for the fear and the shock to leave. The positive virtue is willpower that comes in, and gentleness. Okay, and I'm going to do one more here, coming back, pulling down the heavens. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And third one, inhale and exhale. Okay, so Very simple exercise to do. The healing sound for the kidneys is fu, and what you would do is you would imagine the fear or feel the fear and the shock, whatever situation that you want to think of. Imagine that blue cloud filling up into the kidneys. And then as you inhale, you pull the blue cloud in, and then as you exhale, making the fu sound, fu, and just allow for the circumstance to leave like a dark cloud, going several feet away from the body and deep into the ground. Now, what I love about the Qigong, if you're somebody who has had severe trauma to your spinal cord and you can't move, let's say you're paralyzed from the waist down, or you're paralyzed from the neck down, the cool thing about the Qigong is that you can actually mentally visualize, follow along on this YouTube page, on this channel, follow along with me as I do the kidney move and the liver move. And believe it or not, by mentally visualizing you doing the movement, you actually will gain benefit from that as well too. And I think that's one of the coolest things I love about Qigong, because it does not discriminate against age, gender, ethnic background, religious or spiritual belief background. And it's not something like a TRX class or a boot camp class where you have to muscle through it. It's meant to be simple, and it's designed for people whose constitutions are also weak. And so if your constitution is weak, don't stand up and do the Qigong. Don't stand up and do the liver move. Please sit down and do the movement, because we want to conserve your Qi as much as possible. And again, if you're somebody who has any kind of cervical, thoracic injuries or lower lumbar injuries, and you can't move that area, just visually doing it will help you tremendously. All right, so just wrapping up here, a couple of things that I recommend from the very get-go of this video is icing and heat. Now, ice, according to Chinese medicine, when you cool those kidneys, it actually creates more damage to the kidneys. So listen to your body. If your body says, yes, this ice feels good, it helps to alleviate the pain, then right on, go ahead and do that. If you find that heat actually helps, then do that. Or maybe you should alternate between ice and heat. So what I mean by ice and heat is obviously an ice pack, or we have these really cool heat pads from Healthy Lines, and click on the link below and go ahead and see what we have to offer there that you could actually alternate. And also the cool thing about the Healthy Lines and their gemstone mats is that you could actually lay on these. They actually have mats that will sit on the back of the chair. Just being able to alternate between the ice and the heat may be something that's beneficial to you. Also too, like I said early on in the video, maybe icing the lower lumbar and then heating the thoracic area and then switching that. And the other cool thing about these gemstone mats is that the energetic properties of the stones inside the mats also help with the healing process. So once again, please click on the link below. I gave you the liver move because once again, this liver and this gallbladder, when it's out of balance, then it affects our sympathetic nervous system, which gets stuck here in this darn psoas muscle and creates the problems with bulging or herniated disc. But like I said earlier, all back problems comes back to this psoas being too tight, because why? The spine doesn't just sit there by itself, it's actually supported by this psoas. Also give you the kidney sound, give you the kidney move to help to get rid of fear, PTSD, any kind of shock, any kind of trauma that you had in your life. These simple practices are designed, once again, to be able to include everybody. And if you're somebody that's weak, whose Qi is weak, or somebody who has a spinal injury and can't move their arms, can't move their legs, mentally follow me on this YouTube page as I do these Qigong movements. It will benefit you tremendously. I'm Chris Shelton, signing off from a beautiful day in Los Angeles, California, bringing you the tools to have the healthy, happiest life that you deserve. Until next time, I will Qi you later.